We are back for the next episode of Decoding Dune, the series where I am reading through the Dune Trilogy by Frank Herbert, covering the first three novels of the Dune series, namely Dune, Dune Messiah, and the Children of Dune, or Dune Children of Dune Messiah. I forget the order exactly because it's been like 20 plus years since I've read these books. But we're reading these around the films that are being put out by Denis Villeneuve. I always forget his last name, how to pronounce it, but it's all good. Second film just got pushed back till March, I think, of next year, or at minimum, April, something like that, due to the writers and actors strikes that are going on in Hollywood. So it's actually a good thing for us because it gives us more time to get through the first novel and hopefully into the second novel. Um, Never know, but at least we'll be closer to covering all of the topics that are in the second film, as opposed to where we are right now, because we're still very much covering all of the things that were in the first film, and it's kind of been fun to analyze them from the film perspective as well as the book perspective. So it's kind of a dual thing where I'm re-educating myself on the world of Dune and also being able to see how they adapted the film, the most recent film adaptation. Of course, I loved the sci-fi series that they did on the Sci-Fi Channel in the early aughts, and of course the David Lynch version that isn't really the David Lynch version, but still, I just like Dune. So let's get into it. This chapter has a very short excerpt from the princess at the beginning from the collected sayings of Muad'Dib. And it says here, there's probably no more terrible instant of enlightenment than the one in which you discover your father is a man with human flesh. That is a very poignant um, message, given that we know what's going to happen in this story, and it's been told to us from the beginning of the book. So I'm not the one spoiling this. We know that the Duke is going to die. We know that he is destined to die. He doesn't know that, but Jessica knows it. The Bene Gesserits know it. Paul knows it because of the Bene Gesserits, and of course we have it from Huey himself, who is betraying the Duke for the savior of his wife, who is at the hands of the Harkonnen. So, but this is, from the perspective of thinking about how Paul feels, um, realizing that his father is indeed just a man, no matter how powerful of a figure he might seem to be. It says here that Paul is in the room with his dad and he's watching a film clip on Fremen religious practices, and he finds himself extremely disturbed by the reference to himself as the Muadi Lisan al-Gaib. And he says here he closed his eyes and recalled the shouts, so that is what they hope. And he remembered what the old Reverend Mother had said about the Kwisatz Haderach. And it filled him with this feeling of terrible purpose. And I really like the way Timothy Chalamet has portrayed this in the film, of feeling extremely manipulated and also feeling like the Bene Gesserit are extremely manipulative of the people of the Fremen, having filled their minds with superstition and used science to basically manipulate a lesser intelligent species from their perspective, from his perspective. It's not that they're lesser intelligent, maybe that's a bad way of wording it, but they're definitely a less civilized, that would be the better way to put it, less civilized in the sense of technology. Sort of looking at the Star Trek world of the Prime Directive, you're not allowed to mess with a civilization if they are below a certain threshold of technology, and the Bene Gesserit have no qualms about doing that. So, yeah. But the Duke is telling his son here, he's telling Paul that it's a hateful thing the Harkonnens have done by attempting to cast doubt on your mother, because I would rather distrust myself. And the Duke goes on to tell Paul that they must think they have succeeded. They must think that I am a fool. It all has to look real. Even your mother cannot know that we know, right? It says your mother's actions, your mother's responses must not be an act. I need to smoke out the traitor. Oof. So this is a really interesting conversation between the Duke and Paul about how he's confessing him that I should have wed your mother, years ago, but my unwedded state gave the other houses hopes of an alliance, and nothing wins more loyalty for a leader than an air of bravura. Therefore, I cultivate the air of bravura. And he says my propaganda corps are one of the best. And he's admitting to Paul, like, I have to play the game. I don't want to play the game, but I have to play the game. That's how we survive. And this is where Paul is beginning to realize that his father is, at the end of the day, just a man. No matter how mighty he might seem, he's still prey to the whims of politics and men and mortality. We get the mention of on Caladan we ruled with sea and air power, and here we need desert power. Quick commercial break, everyone, to give a shout out to all of these amazing people who are the guild champions at the highest tiered membership here on our channel. And of course, all of the members who help keep me full time and doing this for your enjoyment. If you would also like to become a member, you get access to tons of special stuff like live stream, member only chat, private videos for our members several times a week. It's really simple. Just pick your tier, go from there. You can also do super chats or super thanks on any stream, YouTube short, or video that you see. Don't forget the Discord. Links are down below. Let's get back to the video. To hold on to Arrakis, one is faced with decisions that may cost one his self-respect. Oh, that's a powerful, powerful, powerful message. And he points to the banner of the Atreides and says, that honorable banner could come to mean many evil things to people depending on how this all plays out, because I have no choice but to play the game. So we're forced to spread propaganda even here on the planet about what a great ruler I am in order to qualm the masses, you know. Um, Paul feels a sense of futility in his father's words here and a sense of fatalism. But it's true. And the Duke talks about how power and fear are the tools of statecraft. And I must begin to teach you guerrilla warfare for the days to come. And if need be, you need to capitalize on the Mahdi, the Lisan al-Gaib, as a last resort. But I need you, son, to understand that that right there is the most powerful propaganda that can be used to raise an army to fight by your side. So Paul is beginning to realize that the world is not nearly as black and white as he might have once thought. The innocence of youth being dispelled here. Oh, that's a short chapter. It's already, that was the end of it here. I didn't realize that was so quick. He basically, this ends with him telling him that at the last resort, you must capitalize on the use of the superstitions of the people. And it says, Paul looks at his father as his shoulders straighten, remembering the words of fear and doubt. Very powerful stuff here. And a poignant message that mortality is here for all of us, and there's nothing we can do sometimes other than to accept our fate and deal with the consequences. All we can do is manage our responsibilities the best we can and hopefully not fall prey to the evil sides of our baser wants. Very interesting chapter. Love to hear your thoughts. Let me know below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We'll see you next week for the next entry.